Get off of there. Welcome, everybody, to the Pucks on Net post-game show, Game 1 edition. It's nothing that we expected this to be. Arash has a lot to say, and I'm going to keep cutting him off. Welcome, everybody. Come one, come all. I apologize for the screw-up. We fixed it, so that's good, but we are here. I think it's going to take a couple of minutes for everybody to come on in. And wow. I'm Ryan Chapp. I'll be your host for the evening alongside Mr. Arash and Mars today. Prince of Pomegranate. Arash, how are you doing?
Okay, you see this paper? This might seem like notes I have all about Ian Cole. But guess what, guys? Guess what? These Canucks, when I already have a post-game show figured out, it's a little bit of Elias Pettersson, a little bit of Ian Cole, a little bit this, that, and this. They do stuff like this. For people who don't know, I was watching this game with my dad, and I was making tea, and it was like 4-1. And then I had to come for the post-game show. As I'm in my car driving, Miller, Zadorov, and right as I get in front of my house, Garland. And for people who didn't see on Twitter, I did not enter my house.
Yeah.
I'm literally in the alley, and I couldn't enter the house. And
Arash, I got to bring that video up right now. Yeah.
Since I have gotten into my car and driven home, they scored 3 goals, and I am terrified to go into my house. So I'm not going in until the game's done.
Which is the correct move. The correct move.
If there is one person in this market that understands the juju, that understands the vibe, that understands that there's just energy you don't screw up with. People, listen, from the moment we started talking about this series, Ryan, I have been the most conservative. I have been the least bandwaggy person. I said, listen, it's like I took a Kobe Bryant approach. You know, it's like, job's not done. Job's not done. Hell, in my head, it's already just totally humble. This team finds a way in the impossible to win. And this is a tale of 2 games. This is a tale of 2 halves. The first half is a Canucks team that had the same, energy as like a Timbits hockey team on the ice. And it was like, no, it was, right? Like when we're watching the game, we're watching them fumble the puck. Ian Cole, too many men penalty right off the hop. Hyman scores. Ian Cole can't get that connecting pass from Nugent Hopkins down into that little triangle there, 1-0. Then Ian Cole screens Artur Silovs. It's 2-0 from a Matthias Ekholm goal, and my dad is there just. He's like, and I'm there being like, okay, I'm even keel. So, Ryan, you know what? We can talk about the first half of the game. We can talk about the second half of the game. I can talk about the first half of the game. I don't know about you. That was a disheartening first half of Canucks hockey where it seemed like they were just. Maybe BX has said it on the panel. It was too much respect.
It was the perfect way to describe it. That's exactly what I felt.
It felt like they just were a little hesitant for the moment. And I couldn't blame Artur Silovs. Ian Cole was public enemy number 1. I don't think a Canucks defenseman has had a game like that in a very long time since probably Ian Cole had a really bad. I just distinctly remember Ian Cole having a bad game as well, way back in the regular season. But, it just felt like, okay, this moment was kind of really capturing them. And we saw like their first power play, and where it was like 15 seconds where they connected on some passes. And then the rest of the entire power play, you had an aggressive Edmonton Oilers squad. Ryan, we've chatted about this, and I've mentioned this about the Oilers. When they're on, it's terrifying. The power play is a cheat code. It's literally Jeremy Roenick in NHL '94. It's Power overwhelming in StarCraft for all my StarCraft nerds in the chat.
A very wise individual asked on a very famous segment, America's favorite segment. I believe it's called. And I asked you if the Edmonton Oilers power play was the greatest power play ever. And it's hard to not sauce the shit out of that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I just it's even when they were they had the goaltender pulled at the end there, you can see that when they go full bore, you wouldn't even blame them if the Canucks had let in the 5-5 goal.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen this team do it over and over and again. That when they pressure, very, very few teams in the NHL are able to withstand and just bend and not break. That being said, one thing we did mention about the Edmonton Oilers,
what was that?
About on the show, is that
what could we have told? What could everybody have talked about for the last week?
I don't know, Ryan.
Somebody
what was it?
tell me.
Tell our listeners. I think you should just tell them. Give the people a night off from using their minds for a second.
If they don't take stupid penalties, they might just be okay. And in the grand scheme of the stupidest penalties you can take, number one, puck over glass. We didn't see that one tonight.
No.
Number two, goalie playing the puck in the trapezoid. Peace. Look at these balloons. We're celebrating. We saw that one tonight. And I'd say number three, too many men. So 66% of the top three dumbest penalties you can take, we saw them tonight, and the Canucks went right out and said, let's get these dumb penalties out of the way now. The
Canucks have taken 14 bench minors like that. That's their it's crazy. But the thing that we've been saying, and listen, this before I get into my one thing, SoCal Canuck, pull up the Ryan Whitney tweet, guys. As Canucks fans, job's not done. Please, I'm begging you, job's not done. For this could be a 5-game series, and guys, like, this could be whatever. Job's not done. Breathe. Don't get too excited. Just
enjoy it.
Take it a game at a time. Enjoy it. Let's take a game at a time. That's how you have to do this. That being said, what did we talked about this, Ryan, with the Edmonton Oilers? And this is something, if my dad is in the chat, and I think
my dad might be in the chat.
Hey, your dad might be in the chat. My dad is. I gave him the link to this show. He's probably sitting down with a cup of tea, the dog on his lap, looking at his handsome son, being like, look at my son retort the things that he told me. Son of a bitch.
Hey, can I ask you an inside baseball question?
Sure.
Is your local recording still going?
Yes.
Perfect. Carry on.
Don't worry, Ryan's doing it. You're so worried. You think I'm not recording on Audacity? Get out of here. The thing we've mentioned about the Edmonton Oilers, Ryan, and tell me if this is a game you didn't just see. The Edmonton Oilers come out and they score 1 or 2 goals.
Yep.
And it looks like death incarnate. It looks like, how do you ever stop this? How has this team not won multiple Stanley Cups?
I can tell you why.
I know. They come out, they score these goals, and you have to respect this Oilers team.
Absolutely.
Because they can break you guys. This is one game. And trust me, this game is lost. I don't think the Canucks make a comeback like this as many times as they have, especially with Nashville considering as well. But the Oilers will come, they'll look like death incarnate, and then what happens? Whistles are put away. 5-on-5 is shown. You get in the trenches. And then slowly but surely, their weaker players on their team, if it's Darnell Nurse, Evander Kane, Evan Bouchard defensively, Evan Bouchard offensively, Jesus Christ, amazing. But what happens is 5-on-5 happens, the battle of attrition, forechecking, physical play, all of these things happen. And then what happens at the end? 2 minutes are left. They need to put Draisaitl, McDavid, and everyone. They need to play 4 minutes of the period. That's what they need to do in order to come back. Because guess what? They're not coming in and putting Derek Ryan out there, being like, Derek Ryan, you got it, buddy. You're representing Wild Rose Country right now, partner. Go out.
It's Derek Ryan o'clock.
It's Derek Ryan o'clock. So yeah, this is something that we've seen now. Ryan, for the second half of the game, can you just run it through? Just run through the game with us. I haven't seen, like you guys know, I was in the car listening to an amazing call by Brendan Batchelor. By the way, he's gonna need some lozenges. I don't know if he'll have a voice for game 2. He might just have like an AI recording. But can you take us through the second half of the game for me, please? Speed us up, catch us up, take us through this wild ride, and just tell us how we got here, please, because I'm the voice. Yeah, like we see. Listen, Arash.
You take a breather.
Oh.
So this game was very curious. As we said right off the top, awful penalty by the Canucks. Too many men. I take notes throughout the game, depending on how the game is going. And games like these, you completely throw the notes out. Arash had his resume or whatever he was taking notes on the back of. But just to give you an example,
I was applying to be a Kraken fan. Let's go, guys. Jerry Bruckheimer. Let's go, Jerry. I love your movies.
I started realizing this was the Ian Cole game, and I was telling, whether it was in the Pucks in the Discord or in the group chat, I'm like, you don't need to be like, sometimes I think I don't watch the games as intently as others do, or I'm like, how come I'm not seeing all of these things? And it was like, if you were just aware of who was on the ice, you would see that Ian Cole did so many dumb, unfortunate things to start this game. And there is a lot that has happened in this game. We're gonna touch on everything, but I'm looking at my notes here. Too many men call. Ian Cole jumped off the bench early. Then on the shorthand, then when they were shorthanded, Ian Cole was not paying attention, and where Phil DiGiuseppe could have sprung him on a 2-on-1 and like had his head down a little too long, didn't get the chance off. Back the other way, Zach Hyman scores the power play goal because Ian Cole and Elias Lindholm completely forgot about him. Then you have the odd, confusing Matthias Janmark goal where Ian Cole just blasts the puck against the boards and it bounces, right to him. So you got that. And then you got Ian Cole. He couldn't keep the puck in the offensive zone. And then Ian Cole decided to do something positive. Elias Lindholm won a key offensive zone faceoff, which is why you have Elias Lindholm. Ian Cole shot it purposely wide, and Dakota Joshua scored on the doorstep. 2 big goals that were scored on the doorstep tonight. That was 53 seconds into the second period. But then Cody Ceci scored after Ian Cole couldn't overthought playing the puck with the high stick. And then he created the worst possible screen for Artur Shilovs, and just, I'm going to stand right in front of you, and then the puck will bounce off me and go in. So that's all Ian Cole. So We're done talking about Ian Cole. He's back there. I hope he's having a Michelob Ultra, and he's just forgetting. I hope he's goldfish braining.
This was the greatest time, like, for Ian Cole to be like, oh, god damn, I got away with one.
Yeah. Give him the belt.
Everyone's high-fiving, and Ian's like, yeah, oh god, good effort by everyone. Just everyone on point. Yeah. Oh yeah, everyone. And then he's like just going right to the bus, being like, yeah, okay, bye guys.
Yeah, and Pedersen's behind him. It's like, normally I feel the way you do, but I don't have to worry about this. No, you're the non-greatest goat. Hey, let's
take a second, Ryan. I think you're really jacked up, and I think we all are very jacked up.
I hope everybody, if you're jacked up in the chat, let's hear it.
Let's hear it. If you're jacked to the nines in the chat, please let us know. I hope you're having a great night, guys. I think going into this series, it's really tough to balance being kind of even keeled and really wanting us to win and everything. So it was really interesting. Through my dad will attest, through the entire day, I was just, because I knew what was ahead of us, and I knew that stuff was going to be kind of really, really tough. And the series, every pundit and every person is Colby Armstrong's telling you, oh, they're going to kill him. They have no answer for me, David. And you know what?
I gotta stop you right there.
Yes.
Elias Lindholm in the third period, he had a few big hits, and I got his stat line. I don't bring it up now, but he had a big hit to make a play late in the game, and I just unintentionally, in my Vince McMahon voice, no joke, I'm like, oh, he's having a hell of a game. And a man just burst into laughter. And I'm like, I love his game.
He's got that ruthless aggression. Well, no, it was from a line like let's talk about that line, that Garland, Joshua, Elias Lindholm line, which is quickly turning into their best line. Here is basically two UFAs coming up this season, and then one person that is, in my estimation, the heartbeat of this team. I know people will say it's JT Miller, and I think JT Miller should be. I mean, he is that guy naturally, but as a person that drags everyone into the fight with them, that shows that, hey, like, I'm coming in, I'm gonna forecheck, I'm gonna make plays, and I don't care if I have to do this shit alone. I'm gonna do it. And it is Connor Garland with a capital C and a G. And one thing that Trevor Linden talked about earlier this week about Elias Pettersson is, PD has to get into the fight. And I mentioned this to my dad. My dad said, I don't want PD fighting or punching people. I said, it's not about that. It's about moving your feet. It's about, if you take a shot, just don't just sheer will, show some will. And every time I look at Connor Garland, I'm like, whatever he's drinking, give it to Elias Pettersson. Just switch bottles, just take Elias and Garland and just switch them there and just see how it goes. And this team, that line, man, for Elias Lindholm, just from where he was when the Canucks obtained him to where he is now, just, man, night and day, complete night and day performance by this guy. And now, talking about, possibly extending him. Listen, if he can be this guy, if he can be like this 60-point centerman, this 55, don't forget about the 40 goal season and the 80. Forget about that. If he can be a 55 to 60 point centerman at this age, I think they've gotten to a point now where, depending on how this playoff goes, depending on how more successful he is throughout the playoffs, and someone like Columbus comes around and like, we'll give you 8x8. Why not? We'll just give you that.
Arash, I gotta cut you off. We gotta talk about what happened in this game. We could talk about contract values all you want, but we haven't even talked about this third period comeback. I'm keeping you between the lines tonight. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off.
Cut me off, pal. I'm drinking water. It's fine. Get me hydrated. Tell me about the third period.
Getting you hydrated. Player of the game, in my opinion, goddamn Elias Lindholm. He scores that goal, a backhand shot, 17:01 into the second period, makes it a 4-2 game. Absolutely changes the momentum. But the absolute TSN turning point comes in the third period. And they showed it after the broadcast. They showed it, and it stuck out like a sore thumb. It showed all the things that we were concerned about with Sheloffs, and it was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins gets an opportunity. The puck bounces one way. Sheloffs is looking the other way, and he completely misses the net, and that would have made it a 5-2 game, and things completely tipped in the Canucks' favor immediately after that. Because what happens after that TSN turning point? JT Miller scores that Strange ass goal on the goal line, right over Skinner's shoulder, and it's 4-3. It's 4-3 now. As soon as it became, I mean, when it was 4-2, I'm like, okay, there's time to work with. As long as the Canucks don't go on one of those pesky momentum killing power plays, they could be fine. And they had their hands in the clay. There was something to work with here.
Pal,
Pal,
sorry, were you happy you didn't take your dog out for a walk?
I did. I took Stevie out in the second intermission.
Oh, I thought in the third you went out. That was the
No.
whole entire thing. I can't imagine you came back and you're like, Stevie, we gotta go outside. We can't come back. We can't come back. And then you just meet me in the alley.
I should have walked that way, but yeah, if I was doing a 9:30 walk, you put up a let's touch on this quick. You put up a good little message here.
Jacob, listen, Jacob
Cozy.
Jake asks in the chat, do you think this is our best roster yet? Guys, nothing is. 2011 was, when you look top down, I mean, it's without saying is probably the best Canucks roster in history. As this roster, in terms of its construction, from where Patrick Alvan and Jim Rutherford took this group of players and their additions with Nikita Zadorov, Elias Lindholm, Sam Offerty, Teddy Bluger, Carson Soucy, to even a veteran presence like Ian Cole through an 82 game season.
Well, don't say Ian Cole tonight.
Just listen, it's okay. It goes through everyone's head. It's fine. We won. Doesn't matter. Just win, baby. Play La Bamba, as an opera might say. But at the same time, I think this team is, it has its faults and it has its issues. Like, listen, guys, like, if they played the Kings, one of the reasons Edmonton was able to dissect the Kings is that they have sheer speed to break through a 1-3-1. And for whatever reason, the Kings did not take away the guts in the middle of the ice and allowed east-west passes. And then Pierre-Luc Dubois was like, well, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. Jeez. I'm going to In-N-Out Burger. This is bullshit. But yeah, this is great on the Canucks. And guys, how many times
it's a great
this season have they
roster,
shown you? Yeah, it's a great roster. But how many times have they shown you this? How many different ways are they finding ways to win? If it's a 1-0, game against the Predators in a game 6 with a third string goaltender, or it's coming back 4-3, or just being malleable enough to see what the problem and the issue is in front of them and saying, okay, well, we need to change stuff up and we need to kind of readjust. Yeah. They're able to do this chameleon-like thing where they can just readjust on the fly. And like, for all intents and purposes, Ryan, this game should have been over at 4-1. Like, they looked completely demoralized, but they didn't. If this was a Jim Benning team, Ryan,
if it was a Mike Gillis team,
I don't know.
They didn't have the chutzpah. They were not malleable. That was their biggest fault. We talk about that for hours.
Well, we'll talk about that on Monday. But erase the board, pal. Let me tell you,
it's still at 0. We're fine. You talked about if this you're bringing up that should have been over at 4-1. I want to show you a clip when it was 4-3.
Slick outlet, and out comes Vancouver. Hoglander spins it. Bluger got a man going to the net, but he curled back. Here's the shot. Score! Nikita Zadorov!
What I absolutely love is that I had a good friend working in the building, and I had a good friend 2 rows back from the Oilers bench at the game. He sent me some clips, but they were telling me that it was like the loudest thing you ever experienced. But it's so loud that you can't, the way the rink and the way the fans are mic'd up, it was just this swell of like unremarkable volume. So like when the game was over, they just let it breathe, or when it was 5-4, nobody was saying anything, and you just like, I'm like, are they loud? It was so loud it could not be properly captured. But that was something absolutely incredible. And I was like, okay, a 4-4 game. This is manageable. There's still some hope. You know what? I don't like their chances there, and I'm invested, but I'm not quite there yet. And then And then all of a sudden, everybody's favorite player, especially Arash's father's, Connor Garland, went and did this as Arash sat in the car and listened.
Vancouver and Edmonton 2 and 3, and here comes Garland in, fakes the shot, scores! Connor Garland!
That was insane. How many times has Connor Garland done that like kind of fake slapper thing, and then tucks it 5-hole? Like it just again like the heartbeat of this team of this squad is Connor Garland, the little engine that could, the little ball of hate. And Ryan, are we gonna see Jeff Campbell or Jack Campbell? Not Jeff Campbell, Jack Campbell. Are we gonna see him? Is it going to be the Is it going to be the battle of the third string?
Are they going to find a goalie named Jeff Campbell and bring him into the lineup? You got to be in real dire straits. This was not I don't think this was a Stu Skinner loss. Like that was a bad goal, or that was just a big 5-hole goal. But this was, I don't know. It was the Oilers taking their foot off the gas, the Canucks getting some momentum, and just like. They looked at the clock and they said, we got time. We can do this. And just chipped away. And the puck luck was on our side and the Canucks side for, tonight.
It's just insane how this team can go from looking like that in the first half to looking like just a complete, like, looking like, oh, we've been here before. Yeah. They went from, oh man, do you think they'll let us see Finn in the intermission? To yeah, man, I got like 7 rings. I have a dart in between the period. Like it's crazy. It's nuts. I've never seen I've every time we doubt this team, they figure something out. And every time I think that Nikita Zadorov is only going to make $6 million, I'm like, Brad Treliving is going to give this guy like a $9 million contract. It's crazy. Yeah, it is crazy how this guy, it's become Hughes Zadorov now.
Yeah.
And Hronek is just like, hey, I'm here too.
Canucks,
I got 100 mile per hour. I have 100 mile per hour slapper, but
I only use this passes. Canucks kept the Oilers without a shot on goal for over 11 minutes.
That's
in
crazy.
The third period. The game ended with shots on goal 8-4 for Vancouver. Third period, but it was that second period. It didn't look like it because there were those 2 really quick goals about 45 seconds apart from Cody Ceci and Zach Hyman that just took the wind out of our sails. Fart in church, But the Canucks outside of that had a decent second period. Shots were 11-4, but this was an interesting game. A lot of the dialogue going into this game was going to be about officiating. Mm-hmm. And I watched the Canucks get away with one mammoth of a missed call, and that was the closed glove on the puck and throw, which is an automatic penalty all the time. And,
when was this?
Oh, it was in the third period, and I forget the time, but basically there was do I have it in my notes here? I don't have it in my notes. That's fine. But there was it was sometime. It was before Zadorov tied the game, but the Canucks did they closed their glove on the puck. They threw it. Refs called it a hand pass or whatever because the Edmonton Oilers picked up the puck. But all the refs were around the bench, and you could hear like, that was an effing penalty. What the hell? That was an effing penalty. And it was, I'm like, you know what? There was that questionable Brock Besser slash in the first. And I was like, that's not really a call. He's kind of really stretching for something. But in that one, I'm like, you goddamn, the officials were not looking to get Connor McDavid into the West Finals tonight. I don't know how often. Go ahead.
I haven't seen that play. I just assume from Canuck luck that I'm like, Oh, he wasn't given like a 10-minute misconduct and a set, just like it's a 5-on-3 penalty right now. Kelly, like I'm terrified to look at the referee sheets and just view like Kelly Sutherland's like in for game 2 and be like, god damn it, this is gonna be rough. But I mean, like just quickly, just looking at the box score, like the Canucks absolutely dominating the faceoff zone, faceoff .63.5% to 36.5. Oilers are only given 1 power play. Canucks again on the power play go 0 for 3. They have to figure something out here, get something cooking. I saw Miller quite. Well, I saw Miller quite. He's looking for Petey. Petey had that one-time shot that we saw him like just grip it and rip it, and we're like, okay, that's good. On the radio, I heard in the last probably 2 minutes, Petey's breaking up a lot of passes. I believe there was a McDavid attempt where if it wasn't for a PD pass, he'd probably have a kind of a lane to the net on a breakaway. So you're kind of seeing it. You're kind of seeing brick by brick. Obviously, is it something that we want to see? You expect your $11.6 million player not to have to piece everything brick by brick, and then he shows up in a McDavid Draisaitl, one of those core players that you're paying them that you don't have to worry about them showing up kind of mentality. But again, like you're seeing it little bit that if he can just wake up, if he can just find that confidence. We've seen it so many times with Elias Pettersson, where he goes on these stretches where he just looks like it's like almost Line A-esque, where like he just feels like I don't even want to play hockey. And then something clicks, he gets a goal, something goes, and then it's like a flood. It's like it's crazy. It's enigma-esque. Oilers 8 minutes and penalties, hits for 35-31 for the Canucks, 12 block shots to the Oilers 11. Quickly going to stat sheet, guys. Connor McDavid did not have a shot on net. If you are taking the over for Connor McDavid shots on net for game 2, hit the over. He's not gonna not have this again. I've watched Connor McDavid enough to be like, he'll look at be like, oh, I didn't get shots. Okay, I'll have 14 shots on net.
Yeah, it's a McDavid game 2 will be a McDavid game. There is no question.
Yeah, it'll be a McDavid game. Again, like going through like their top the Oilers' top players. Listen, McDavid, Nugent Hopkins 2 assists, Draisaitl 2 assists, Hyman 2 goals, Derek Ryan, the immortal Derek Ryan with an assist. But again, then we go through the depth chart. Connor Brown, 7 minutes, nothing to show with. Matthias Janmark played on the top line, not too much to show with. Dylan Holloway, 11 minutes, Ryan McLeod, 16, Corey Perry, with 10, Evander Kane with 13 minutes. Then we look at the defense. Yeah, CC -3. God, I will say this just on like what a trade for the Edmonton Oilers. Matthias Ekholm, man, what a pickup! Seriously, if there was one thing that Ken Holland has really knocked out of the park, it was the Matthias Ekholm trade. Just the exact player that they need. Kind of feel like they probably need one more, and they need to build on that. But just to give some love to the Oilers, like Matthias Ekholm looked fantastic.
They'll only have 3 more of them.
If only every team had 3 more of them, God, everyone's looking for that guy who can play 25 minutes a night and just be rock solid, especially on the mileage that he has from playing from Nashville. But just a roller coaster ride of a game, Ryan, and I really hope that they don't, like this isn't going to be every game, because they can't do this every game. I don't think, depending on what happens with Leon Draisaitl, and I've seen this on Twitter where people are doing this, the Kevin Durant on the Golden State Warriors playing the Raptors thing, where they're like, yeah, Draisaitl's injured. Don't cheer for an injured player. Like, you don't want to win that way. Like, you just don't, don't do that. Also, an injured Draisaitl, guys, single-handedly ended the Tkachuk-Gaudreau era in Calgary.
Yeah, and most of those Flames play on the Canucks now, so you can't chance that.
And it's great. So don't anger him, because he'll be like, I'll fucking do it again. I don't care.
Draisaitl wound up playing about seven-ish minutes in the third period, which is pretty impressive because he played 9-14 after 40 minutes. and he had that kind of clunky start to the period, and he wasn't on the bench for a while. I learned he was on the bench because, I don't have that clip. No, I don't. Doesn't matter.
Boo, Ryan. Everyone boo Ryan for not having the clip ready. Jeez.
Do I have the clip? Where is it? Oh, okay, here it is.
Don't boo Ryan. Don't boo Ryan. He has the clip.
0571.
Look at you go.
Will it work? My good friend, a fellow groomsman, Jeff, he was 3 rows behind the bench, and he sent a video. So if you're wondering,
where are the Ryan? Sorry, where are the parents? Where are the parents?
I think this man's pushing 50.
No, but where are the parents? This man is allowed to show the middle finger. Where are the parents in this?
I'm
clutching my pearls.
It is concerning. There is no question about that. He's not flipping off Draisaitl or Perry or the Oilers. He's flipping me off because I said, okay, you're our eyes and ears at ice level. I need footage from you. And as anybody that knows me, I said, and I need it horizontal. I don't need your vertical bullshit. So I said he was flipping off horizontal. And then he FaceTime. He said, here's your horizontal, you bastard. But he did send me another video, just kind of taken in the moment that maybe wasn't as captured as well as it could have been when it was 5-4. Damn it. lively crowd.
Scanner, faster than light. I always think about this. This is a reference. Yeah, I'm just again going on the Canucks side of the box score now. Jesus.
Here's a line for you, pal.
Yeah, pal.
Elias Lindholm, a goal, an assist, +2, 5 shots on goal, 17 minutes of ice time. 77.8 in the face-off dot.
Absolute fire. You guys know if you play Hockey Ultimate Team, there's going to be a new Elias Lindholm card coming out, even though who plays hot anymore?
And if you knew how to gamble on the Canucks leading into the playoffs, you would always bet the under on on Elias Lindholm shots on goal, because as I was very all swift and ready to point out, he went many, many, many games without getting shots on goal for the Vancouver Canucks. Nice to see things change.
Nice to see things change too.
Here's a stat line for you. Dakota Joshua.
Ryan's taking my bit.
No, you read it. Read it.
No, Dakota Joshua goal is 2 assists plus 2 shots on goal, 14 and a half minutes of time on ice, 8 hits. Let's look at Connor Garland again. 1 goal, 2 plus 2 shots on, just absolute monster of a line. And I don't know how, specifically working with last change and how that's going to affect things with the matching up with the McDavid line. But man, they just they ate. And I will say the one thing that I kind of was a bit laughable for me was coming into the game. It was a lot of pundits were like, I just don't think they have the depth to. I think the Oilers' depth is gonna hem them in a little bit. I don't think they got. I'm like, what are you like? What?
There was so much room in this game.
No, it's not even room, but it's like you're like the bottom. Like, let's compare bottom 6 of the Canucks to the Oilers. Like, you have Connor Brown, who has 4 goals on the year with 8 assists, who played with McDavid for quite a long period of time as a test drive. He played in the Jason King slot. You have Matthias Janmark, again, Derek Ryan, like all these guys, and Sam Carrick, etc. like, do they not know, like, this Canucks third line, like how vital it's been throughout the entire season? And this is a
It's their
souped
only
up
line
version.
now.
Well, it's a souped up version of the Bluger line because now you've replaced Bluger with Lindholm, and they found something, and you're not going to split them up. Like I don't, the argument again with Pedersen is like, oh well, Pedersen plays with McCabe and Hoglander. Like, Niels Hoglander was one of the players that was really going in the early parts of this game, when it seemed
Yeah.
like no one else was. And I one of the things I wanted to talk about, because I don't want to hang too much on PD, because from his scrum and his interview today, it just seems like it's a lot. Is that, if you're Michael Nylander, that's fine. Fine. You're making $6 million a year, and you're Michael Nylander, and you're the 2C, and that's you. And yeah, maybe you need a shooter on your line. If you're akin to like Peter Forsberg, and you're getting Forsberg money, like it doesn't matter if you're playing with Chris Simon and Greg DeVries on your right wing. Like it doesn't matter. You like that reference, Ryan? You like those references? It's a pretty good
Oh
reference.
yeah.
It doesn't matter in that extent. Like, you have to produce. So you saw, for all intents and purposes, like, yeah, if that line wakes up, Canucks have a chance here. But they can't. I don't think you're going to have a lot of games this season, and or in this series, where the Oilers are just going to have one penalty called against them. When we get to Edmonton, I don't want. We'll talk about that when we get there. Question: I'm curious for you. I didn't think that Artur Silovs, was to blame for a lot of the goals. There's a couple things he wanted to have back.
Yeah.
Do you now, is the shine kind of worn off, or are you saying, hey, Casey also has beaten the Oilers in the regular season, and that was a late start as well. Maybe, I don't think the Oilers are just going to have 16 shots on net every game.
Hey, they had 18.
Sorry, man. Sorry, I got Linden on the mind. But again, like, I'm gonna expect that they're gonna come out of the hop again, and the special teams, they're gonna definitely need to have to be better. And yeah, they're not gonna. The Oilers are the Canucks. As much as I would love to say they're an extremely disciplined team, this is a decor with Tyler Myers and Nikita Zadorov. Like, they're gonna call stuff. They're gonna call penalties, and we saw in that one power play to start the game and that was them running cold. Dude, that was, I mean, yeah, the argument on the Hyman goal to make it 1-0 is that, yeah, like, Ian Cole needs to have that pass. Like, he needs
but
it goes through his legs, and
this started out a question
not
about Artur Silov's play.
Yeah, so what I'm saying now is that, considering that this, all things considered, it's not like Artur Silov stole this game and whatever. He had some timely stops there, here and there.
He was very human. He was very normal.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say there was too many goals that, outside of Ian Cole bungling and it bouncing off him. I didn't have, I didn't have the Dan Colucci tightening sphincter moments where he didn't. It was a game that if Thatcher Demko was playing, it would have been 2-0. It would have been 2-1, not 4-1 at that third period. But all we can do is look at what we saw in game one. We can make our own assumptions that Connor McDavid's going to have a beast mode game, and Leon Draisaitl is going to be fine, because Knoblauch came out and said he left the second period due to cramping. So much like our favorite backup goalies of yesteryear, it's just a cramping issue, and that's manageable. But I don't see a lot of red flags. I don't see any, like, he didn't stand on his head like he did in the Nashville series, but the team bailed him out, and they won. They got enough, and I'm not afraid of putting Shilovs back in for game two. That's me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really curious as well, and so now that Vancouver's kind of taking this game back, I'm curious also, just in like in a rhythm type of way. So it seems like the team is really bonded around Archer Shilovs, and that's great. Just for the sake of you know, just giving it like a different look. I don't know if Casey Smith east to west as a goalie, that's one of his biggest strengths. And
Did you see that
Shilovs,
moment?
Yeah.
Tonight where he was getting a little too horny going east west and almost got
Little
caught.
bit.
And I'm like, is that too? I can't see real good. Is that Casey DeSmith in that?
Is it easy and swimming in no man's land? But yeah, right. No, man, what a game, guys. Again, like I don't know if how many more times the Canucks can do this to us without us just palpitating, our hearts exploding upon
The
themselves.
answer is
But,
11 more
yeah,
times.
I can't. Like again, like it's like I'm trying to think of them doing this to the Avalanche. Like I don't know.
Nathan
I mean,
McKinnon's
listen,
just so mad.
Nathan McKinnon's just eating like a pile of grass, being like, "God damn it!"
The PDO regressed, and then what's the opposite of regressed?
Guys, in the chat, can we just give your best answer to what is the opposite of regression, please? In the chat, we would really
Is
love
it
that.
Succession?
Do you want me to play the theme song to Succession?
No, we don't want. We try to.
Do you want me
You'll
to
get
do all the
copyright striked.
Do you want me to do my best impressions of all the characters in Succession? Because I'm really good at it.
No, Arash, I want you to think for a second about what we're talking about right now. The fact that we're coming up to 50 minutes, progression. Thank you. Here we go. Michael in the chat, progression. Jake in the chat, progress, baby. Jacob, progression. Development. Todd, progression. These are coming in so fast. Regression.
Advances.
Advances.
Colton Sissons is the opposite of regression.
Thank you, chat. Thank you very much.
Some of the most learned people we know in the chat right now, just absolutely hammering in the best of Canadian education that they can give us.
I just want everybody to remember this is a 4-1 game in the third period.
Yeah, this was
Canucks scored 3 goals in 4 minutes and 48 seconds. And
I can't keep doing this, right? I can't keep doing this. I'm 34.
What, winning?
No, I can't.
I can't have this team win one way or another. The only way Arash can be happy about a victory is if it is a 60-minute effort where they score 7 goals in the first 3 minutes and then they just defend.
Okay, can I ask something? Can I just have one of those games? Just one where there's like a 5-0 lead. Just so I can have one night where we come to the post-game show and we're like, yeah, good game. Okay, great. All right, 17 minutes. Bye, guys. And just kind of go. One thing, you know what I'm really curious about, just because we have quite a few listeners on Twitter and on YouTube.
Called X,
you know, if there's any just yeah, and you know what? It's if there's any Oilers fans, like listen, hey, Oilers are terrifying. You guys are terrifying, and from one thing, it's like from one franchise that has gone through the muck, like the Canucks have. I can also understand a franchise going through the muck. Like, listen, we've had our Jim Benning. I can maybe assume that Peter Chiarelli is your Jim Benning. I can make these links and connections together in terms of the two franchises. And I know both franchises are right now kind of killing each other on Twitter and everything. And I get that. These are two really good teams with amazing strengths, two teams with their superstars. And I through this entire series, I mean, I picked Edmonton in 6. I think, hey man, like if every game's like this, you're not going to be able to, I don't know if you have the horses to kind of go there.
Yeah.
What a game. And yeah, like it's great to see. And this is great hockey. And it's a Canadian series. And why don't you, this is what you sign up for, man. This is great.
Can I show you what we sign up for? It's after as long as we've put up with this half-assed rebuild and bad hockey and 15 years of, to quote Rick Dollywell, 15 years of bleep hockey, it's to see footage like this of after a win. Just amped. Look at Rick.
Oh my God.
His dome so cut up from that shitty motel razor. God.
Just absolutely just jacked. And then you see Adam Foote being like, I'm just here for fun.
I know what Stanley
I already
Cups
have a
feel
ring,
like.
so I don't
Yeah.
really need-
This game was going so poorly. I was going to I had a screenshot ready in the third period of the suit that Tocchet was wearing, and I was going to say this is the color of the suit I almost picked for the wedding, but I thought against it. I mean, it's a nice suit, but it's not wedding quality. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Someone's wedding coming up. Is that what? Are we all going to show up to the altar with that Artur Shilov's dress shirt now? Are you making changes on the fly?
Jake in the chat, hey guys, have you ever considered not enjoying good things that happen for fear of future bad things?
Dude, my entire life is not enjoying just I don't enjoy things for the idea that bad things are going to happen in my future. Literally, my psychiatrist is like, you catastrophize a lot. I'm like, that's the only way I know how to live, doc. Only way I know how to live is to just assume that bad things are going to happen. And I can't, whatever. But man, yeah, again, what a win. And man, if there's, I don't know how many more games of this I can handle, right? Again, I would love a 7, give me a 7-4 win, man. Just like with
where they're down 4-0 going into the third period and score 7. A goal every 2 minutes.
Dude, just absolutely wild.
How can we forget? Not to gloss over, they it was Amanda's freaking out about Big Brother in the other room. I wonder if that.
Oh no! Did Connor Garland get kicked off of Big Brother? Right?
Garland they took a 5-4 lead with 5:34 on the clock, and they shut the door on McDavid and Draisaitl, and they weren't. That was a short bench for those Oilers. So I think I as the third period was winding down and the Canucks shut them down so well. They were getting in slots. They were breaking up passes. Petey was doing a good job defending against McDavid. The Lindholm line was getting it done. I was just trying to focus on downloading these clips. Yeah, I see it. I'm trying to download these clips to not focus on the game. Stephen T in the chat, we are one game closer to Ryan's wedding getting disrupted.
I'm so sorry. I never thought this could actually possibly happen. But
Arash is big yapper.
I'm sorry. I willed this into the ether. I didn't any year but this one. Any year. This one. Sorry.
Michael with the more official stats saying the Oilers' first shot on goal was 4:06 into the third period. They showed a stat past the 10-minute mark in the third saying that they had shots were 8-0. So, all right, but whatever. My story. Don't let facts get in the way of a good story here. Oh, look at this shit. God, left.
Ryan,
in
just
the
got
third.
boomed again. Right,
15 minutes. So it took 15 minutes into the third period for the Oilers to get a shot on goal.
Ryan was literally watching the Mariners game more intently. Watch Jose Altuve or what? I don't know who the hell plays in baseball anymore.
That's rude.
Aaron Judge. He sends the judgment bomb over the SeaTac.
I say we wrap up the audio podcast here. We hit stop on our local recordings. And stick around.
We do. 1 second before, because I know some of our audio listeners are gonna get to the end of the show here. Ryan, for game 2.
Yep.
What are we in for next? I don't know. Just give me some vibes. Give me some energy of what we're gonna expect going into game 2.
I think we're gonna see a lot. I think we're going to see a two-headed monster come out. I think the Canucks are going to be a little more confident in themselves. I don't necessarily think they'll win it, but I don't think it's going to be as frustrating as tonight's game was.
Mhm.
And I think that the team is not going to overthink it as much as they were tonight. And I kind of feel like if they lose, they'll lose a good game. And I think that they humanized Leon and Connor, and they found the weaknesses that is Stu Skinner. And that's going to be a big factor going into game 2. Is the game-winning goal on Stuart Skinner was not a good one. And it's one he wants back. And I just think that that's going to rattle around in the Oilers' cage for 48 hours.
Yeah, I think for game 2, we're going to see the Oilers are going to have more opportunities on the power play. I don't think that Canucks, they're going to try their best to stay as disciplined as possible. I don't think they're going to just limit to one opportunity for the Oilers. The Canucks are going to be tested. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they can get some timely kills. It's funny, like even on that power play, like on the PK, I thought they had a good PK for going there, and then it shows with this Oilers team of how terrifying that power play is. They don't need to even play good. They'll just come and just be like, okay, all of a sudden, boom, in the back of the net. So that being said, we'll see with the Edmonton Oilers and their depth. 5-on-5, I think, is really going to be if the Canucks can just kind of tidy things up on the special teams front. I think they have a bit of an edge going into the 5-on-5, play on 5-on-5. Again, we saw they're filling up the guts of the ice. They're making things a little tougher for the Oilers, especially when they got their jimmies out of the way. They got their little Sunday scaries out of the way, and they settled in. They thought, oh, wow, we can actually skate with these guys. Oh, yeah, hey, this, okay, maybe, I'm in the NHL for a reason as well. It's kind of my viewpoint and my thought on it, is that it just felt like they thought they were in fantasy camp, and in terms of the respect they were giving, it didn't it just took a little while for them to be like, hey, okay, we're a half decent team. Edmonton's a great team. And they're both going kind of head to head here. We'll see what happens in game 2. Hopefully they can shore stuff up.
It felt like they were reading. It felt like since they eliminated Nashville, they were only reading one thing, and it was that Sportsnet series preview, which had every single pundit and
except Ryan S. Clark.
We stand Ryan S. Clark.
The Ryan, I think he's a beat reporter for the Seattle Kraken.
One comment before the audio show wraps up. Nobody go anywhere. Also, if you're in this chat and you haven't given us a like or subscribed to the channel, we would really appreciate that.
Ryan works so hard on this, guys. You have no idea.
Yeah, we're
what a good man.
Inching towards 500 subscribers, and that'd be really cool. Quick quote from Quinn Hughes on Rick Tockett's impact on the belief level this group has found in key moments. He helped us get the stink out of here. Absolutely love that. So as we wrap up
giving the stink just read Jay Benning.
We'll wrap up the audio podcast here. I'd like to hear a call or two, get a vibe check from you. Final score, hilariously and shockingly enough, Canucks 5, Edmonton Oilers 4. Connor Garland with the GWG, and the Canucks take a 1-0 series lead. Game 2 is Friday night. We'll be back with another post-game show. But for the audio portion of the show, have a great night. Enjoy this. Cue up the sassy saxophone. Good night, everybody. And for the video portion and the live stream that's still here, the link is in the chat. So we want to hear from you. Click that mother.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. I'm going, whoever you are, just chat with us, guys. I think we've been really impartial. I think a lot of post-game shows, especially considering we're from Vancouver, I think we're really, Ryan and I are fair. I think we're really fair. No, Ryan, are we not fair?
I'd say we're fair. Did you hit stop on your local recording?
Yes, I did. Don't worry.
Oh, perfect. So let's see what happens.
Sorry, I was just saving the WAV file there. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Man, jeez. Oh man. So yeah, Ryan, just like can you what was going through your head in the first like period and a half of this game? Because I want like I know
shoot
where I was,
or
but I
work?
just want to know how just shoot.
I from that first power play onward, I just thought of that old Chicago Bears quote, and it's like the Oilers are exactly who we thought they were, and
We let him off the hook.
and I'm like, it is what it is. Like, you know what? I was down on the team. I was thinking what we saw in the Nashville series was creeping back up in the inability to create shots, the inability to forecheck and create an outlet pass and create some sort of momentum out of their own zone. And yeah, it was a bit of a bummer. And that was where my mind was at, was that, okay, this has been fun, but what are we doing here? Well, what about you?
I was just like there was a sense of frustration of like I could see Connor Garland, I could see Niels Höglander going, but I was wondering like, okay, you're really playing you're playing incredibly tentative hockey. Like I can only assume, I can only imagine how frustrated JT Miller must have been, because JT Miller only has one speed and it's go.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when we're kind of focusing on the grand scope of everything coming into this series, everyone's throwing out the book on the Canucks, and that's fine. And for me, I'll be totally honest, I still am, is that one thing I explained to my dad, and I keep bringing my dad up, but the thing I explained to him is the more and more you watch hockey and you analyze things, there's viewing things as a fan and trying to just view things impartially and saying, this is the thing in front of me. And yeah, my heart believes, and God, I want this to go as far as it can, but trying to also protect that by saying, hey, you're smart, you're capable of understanding what the thing is in front of you. Don't get too high, don't get too low. And when we saw in the first half of this game was just, yeah, right, like you said, it was like, what are we doing here? Like, what, do we need to play Where the Streets Have No Name again, just so you guys know? This isn't November in Minnesota. Can we just go? Can we get going here a little bit?
This was my reaction. This happened during the game. This was Ken Knobloch, and I'm like, this is how we all felt watching the team. Where you're just like, oh, geez.
11. Oh God, 3 more games of this.
Well, hopefully only 3.
Hopefully only 3. Yeah, no, it's just, you have to take this stuff. You really, really, really have to take this stuff a game at a time. And yeah, Dylan Walsh. Oh, Dylan Weich. Dylan Weich. Dylan in the chat. Never underestimate the Canucks. Yeah,
Don't.
I'll bring this back, Ryan. I'll bring this back all the way to the beginning of our podcast season, when the Canucks, I think it was after that Philly game, they went on, Talkett says, who the hell are we to think we're anybody?
Yeah.
And they went on this run. And one thing specifically with Canucks fans is that when you've been mired in this stink, when you've been mired for almost a decade of being gaslit by an organization, by a Benning Weisbrod organization that told you it's really easy to fix this, it's going to be quick. Oh yeah, we traded these picks. This is going to. We brought in Lyndon Vay, Sven Berchi. Oh yeah, it's going to all this stuff to say. Yeah, we're just going to expedite the process, right? And then they just are completely mired in the muck. They draft haphazardly here and there. They get Pedersen, they get Hughes, they get Höglander. They draft Demko, great. They
Yeah,
choose
it's
Levy. They
that
draft.
it's Jimbo's team.
Yeah, and
Thank you, Jim.
thank you, Jim. Let's keep it to a thank you, Jim. There's Oli Levy, Jake Vertan, all these things, and so they have these pieces. But at the same time, Ryan, when I go back and I think about all the stuff that Canucks fans have been through, from again, I don't want to go down a negativity lane, but we're in this kind of after hours part of the show. There's Jim getting fined about talking about PK Subban, coming up to the podium and saying, "Oh yeah, we tried to trade Dan Hamhuis, and then we could all this stuff." And after a while, Canucks fans are saying to themselves, "God, this is the guy that's the lead head in this." And then he gets an extension, and then your ownership is tweeting that we have full faith in these guys, nothing's gonna happen, and then you're just going down this whole rabbit hole to the point where anything good that happened to this team, the fan base was just like, there's just no, this too good, no, it's not gonna last, oh, we're not gonna get our hopes up and all this stuff.
You know what it was
Just
like watching Arash? It was like watching. It felt like we were watching a general manager learn on the job through trial and error. It was on the job training, and it was like, man, if I feel like he should know these things, or he should have a team propped up underneath him that would tell him not to do these things, and then nobody else worked there, and they isolated themselves as they did. So to bring in a team, a group that has come in. And, they began to figure it out in the 21-22 season. 22-23, they start to build their house. And then it seemed like at that point, this organization of we know what we're doing cherry-picked these very specific players that worked with these types of players and just created those accent pieces that the previous, 10 years failed at uncontrollably every single year to do. So it is a hell of a fucking good feeling.
It is. It's a really great feeling. And then, this team, just like the stink kind of came off for Canucks fans, the emotional damage of, we had, I believe Dylan talked, chat mentioned, or not Dylan, the person before talked about, like, have you never experienced a good feeling because you're always worrying about the bad feeling that's about to come. And it took a really long time for Canucks fans to just accept the good thing. And I'm happy. I'm okay, wait. Emotional damage. If you know the meme, you know the meme. Ryan, have you ever seen Martin Scorsese's Casino?
Yeah, it's like a crappier Goodfellas.
Yeah. Do you remember that one part in the casino
where they beat his brother to death with baseball bats in front of him in a shallow grave in a cornfield?
No,
Is that what you're comparing?
That's not the reference.
Game 1 to?
Ryan, he's still breathing. Just stop.
He wasn't. This is what you thought because you had to not tempt the hockey gods?
That's not even the reference I was going to make. It's 11:13 at night. Just let me make my reference. My reference was, do you remember the guy he has to hire because he's like the brother-in-law of the county commissioner, and he's really bad at running the slot machine, and he screws up the slot machine? That was Jim Benning. Like, oh, Mr. Rothstein, oh dang, Mr. Rothstein, oh you're right, Mr. Rothstein, and that's what Canucks fans had to deal with. So I'm past is past. They're here now. It's just, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling looking at, Scott Road and all the young kids with no parents flipping everyone off and swearing. It's so, okay, I'll say one thing about it. We mentioned it on the pod, but for people who don't know, don't use your kids as props to swear on a video. Don't do that. But at the same time,
you know what they say, Arash? Kids say the darndest
things. They just, the more you tell kids not to swear, the more they actually swear. Okay, that's a crazy little whodunit. Dang. No way. But yeah, no, we'll go into game 2, Ryan. Just a hell of a win by the Canucks. Absolute hell of a game.
Who do you think the 3 stars of game 1 were?
Joshua, Garland, Lindholm. Like, are you kidding? That line was
There's no stars from the Oil?
I don't know, Ryan. Hyman probably. Hyman had some.
I forget what it is in French. So le troisième étoile from the Oilers de Edmonton, Zach Hyman, 2 goals, 2 points.
From the Oilers at Edmonton, Sheldon Surrey.
Le deuxième
Sean
étoile.
Hookoff, Jarrett Stoll,
Le deuxième
Thomas.
étoile
Thomas Data.
from the Vancouver Canucks. Number Wheat Dziev, I don't know what 91 is. Nikita Zadorov, goal and an assist. And Dakota Joshua, your first star, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points. I don't know if this person's watching live. He is watching live. Cole just messaged me. Scott Roadkid should announce the Oilers lineup on Friday.
Starting on, wait, the Oilers lineup or the Canucks lineup?
Wow, why would he announce the Canucks lineup?
Starting at center, fucking Connor McDavid. Honestly, I don't know. Jesus, that entire. This has just been exhausting. It's just all been exhausting. And did you see? I don't want to get into the minutia of it because this is going to be a long series, but there's a lot of content on Twitter right now, and I can't wait to go and scroll.
Yeah,
can't wait to go and scroll.
I think I'm excited just to, again, it's little things. There's nothing better than regular season or especially the playoffs when the team you're cheering for wins, and you can just you can leave Sportsnet or TSN all day and wait for the highlights 30 minutes later. Hell, I could watch those again. It feels good to read feel good news stories instead of just kind of going back and dwelling and worrying on. And man, after everything since Friday night of how the big bad Oilers, it's cool that the Canucks stole one. Maybe didn't even steal one, just just got the job done. But it's cool.
The best part about all this is that this is just Wednesday. Friday, like tomorrow we have games. Friday, I believe Friday's game 2, right?
Yeah, and Sunday's
game 2.
Mother's
Friday.
Day is game 3.
Just check this out. Sunday is not only game 2. We get the Leafs presser, Ryan.
On Friday, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be great. I can't wait.
What's that? An amuse-bouche?
Oh my god, it's like it's the dish that ties the entire day together. Is watching Brendan Shanahan and Brad Treliving try to explain this one.
We're really close.
We're really
close. The Oilers are really close tonight too.
We're one Nikita Zadorov away from Austin Matthews scoring 70 goals. That's what we really care about.
I love that. Let's go to bed on that one. Again, final score 5 Vancouver, 4 for the Oilers. Big game. Big game for that Connor Garland, Elias Lindholm.
No, you can say Connor Bedard, baby. The counter's running down. This is. I'll say this one thing.
Yeah.
Before we go, I still favor Edmonton to win the series, but I will say this: Connor McDavid has 2 years left. Draisaitl has 1. That's just to Oilers fans. Bedard's coming home, and it's only a matter of when. So I'm just saying the Canucks have 2 windows here. One of them is figuring out this core, and then figuring out what the core looks like when Bedard is like at age 25, being like, "Yeah, I never cared for the show The Bear. I kind of just want to come home." Yes, sure.
All right. We're getting silly. Canucks win 5-4. Goals from Dakota Joshua, Lindholm, Millers, Nikita Zadorov, and of course the big GWG from Connor Garland. The Bermuda Triangle line, Pettersson, Mikheyev, and Hoglander. Noticeable, productive, but not scoring. And Artur Shilov's fine. For the Prince of Pomegranate, Arash Marzadeh, I'm Ryan Schapp, and it's time to cue up that dirty, sassy saxophone.